What if I told you that you could make two cute little books from a single paper bag that you get from the grocery store? And extra bonus, there is no sewing or binding of any kind for these little books. That's what we're going to be doing in today's video. So I love it when people comment on my videos and they ask questions or have just suggestions about things, really. Recently, a couple people asked me to create a video for a project where somebody doesn't have a lot of art supplies or craft supplies. So I was thinking about it and thinking, what kind of project could we do? And I found something. I was scrolling on Instagram. I get tons of ideas still from Instagram. And I saw someone who created these books from large pieces of art paper. She would create a big project on an extra large piece of paper. I don't know where she got the paper from. And then she would fold them, or cut it first, and then fold it and turn it into a booklet. And I thought, I can take this idea and use something like a paper bag. Paper bags are something that almost everybody can get a hold of. And I also wanted to challenge myself to look for things that are easily accessible, either free or very inexpensive. So for art supplies, what you need is a bag like this from the grocery store. Then you will need 12 of something. They can be 12 stickers, 12 things that you cut out from magazines, whatever, because we're going to be decorating 12 surfaces, 12 pages, 10 really, but then also a front and a back cover. In addition to that, you will of course need a glue stick or some kind of glue adhesive and scissors. You probably do need scissors. All right, so let's get to work. Here is my bag. What I'm going to do is I want to preserve this whole piece on both sides. So I also want this right here. So what I'm going to do is I will cut it down the side. Well, even before I do cutting, these need to come off. So I'm going to just carefully remove these. It's okay if there's still some glue or whatever on there. We're going to be using the other sides, so that's fine. So how I'm going to cut is just on the side here. All right, so I've cut it down the middle, and now I just need to cut off these end pieces and the base. All right, so now for the fold, I want to do it the long way crossed into thirds. So I want to fold it as close as I can at the edge. Right? So if you need to adjust, if it's not exactly, move the paper around, move it backwards, move it forward. Just keep on checking that you can get it so that they exactly line up to the edge. So this is a little bit too long, so let me push it back just a tad. Okay, now this should be good. All right. Once you have your paper in thirds, now you want to fold this into fourths. So line it up. You can use a bone folder or something where you have control of really pressing down these creases. And then again. So now when you open it up, you will see that there are 12 squares. Okay, now for the cut, you're going to turn it so that it's in the portrait orientation, and you're going to cut from the very bottom until the last joint right here. So you're not going to go all the way to the top. You're going to stop just before you get to the last one. Okay. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing when you turn the page exactly upside down. Now you are going to start here and you are going to stop just at this last intersection right here. Okay, so now when you turn the page back and you pull it up just a little bit, it should look like an S. You see that? Okay, so now how do you figure out what page is where? All right, so if you're looking at your S, the square right here at the bottom, the second square from the left, this is the one that you're going to pick up, and this is the front cover. Okay, and this is the back cover, back, front. So what you're going to do, if this is the main one you're holding in your hand, then this is page 1, which means you need to fold it like this, and here's pages 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm making this crease like this, and now pull this down and you can start to push these pages over and under. Okay. This is the end, but this is the back cover, so it's going to go over like this, and it's going to be glued here to here. So now when you have the front, this is how it looks. I'll show you again. I'll show you again so that you can try it with me. So, whoops. So, here's my S. I started with this bottom one right here. You could also start with the top, but just make sure it's the second one in. You have one loose tail, and then you start with this one. Okay, so let's actually do it this way from the top. So I've got my second square, and this is going to be the back, the end page, the back of the book. So if this is the back of the book, and this is my front page, I just flipped it around. Okay, so now here's pages 1 and 2, and then you can just put your book together like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write out top, and I'm going to do the pages just so that I know the orientation, which way, and the location where each of these blocks are within the full page. So this is 1, this is 2, and it doesn't matter that I'm writing this because I'm going to collage on top of it anyway, so these will get covered up. 3, 4, back. Okay, so let me open it again. Here's my back and top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You will notice that the orientation of the pages is this way, but then 3, 4, 5, and 6 are upside down. And then 7, 8, 9, 10 are again in a straight, in the upright orientation. So you just need to keep that in mind when you are doing your artwork or your collages or whatever on these pages. Keep that in mind so that you know which direction to put your materials in your papers. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do on these pages? I could use paint, use mixed media. The nice thing about this paper bag is that it's a pretty good sturdy paper, right? This is going to take acrylic paints really nicely. If you want to do, some layering first with wet mediums, perfect, go for it. I'm going to stick with collage. That's kind of what I do. So I have some things that I am going to use. All right, so what pieces am I going to use? I have a bunch of envelopes, these security envelopes. I like the patterns on these, so I save these from time to time. So I'm going to be using some of these that I'm just going to tear out and use pieces on here, right? I'm also going to be using more text out of this Trader Joe's brochure, this flyer of, what their products are this month. And then I also have some leftover paint chips from another project that I worked on some months ago. So I'm going to see if I can use these on some or all of my pages. Now the last thing I have for this book are some really cool postage stamps. So the USPS has some brand new stamps out. These are low denomination, 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent, 5 cent, and 10 cents. They sell them in sheets of 20. I ordered these online, but the next time you're in the post office, just ask and see if they have any. A sheet of these 5 stamps in total costed me $3.20. So I'm going to start tearing out some of this text out of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of sprinkle in text a little bit, a few pieces here and there. I don't know exactly what I want, so it's going to be better for me to just kind of lay things out and then move things around. I don't think I will sprinkle these on just yet. I'll just leave them close by, but I do want to put down my paint chip cards. So these are all the colors. I put them in an order that I thought made a nice flow from page to page. So I think that, let's see, this is my front. I think I want this to be page 1, and I think I want this to be the end page. Okay, now I will just put them down like this. Okay. I can decide if I want to have them facing this way or if I want to turn them this way. That's probably my options for those. And then as I start to look, I can see, do I want the green text with this green background? Probably not. So maybe I will switch them around like this. That looks good. This looks good. Maybe, yeah, no, I'll keep that like that. Okay, or maybe put this like this, right? So that's why it's neat to have them all laid out like this. I have some little pieces of washi tape. Maybe I will just put them down here to keep it from moving around too much. Next, I think I want to choose my postage stamps because I want to pay attention to the colors I have in these paint chips and see what is going to work better. That's another nice thing about these sheets is they allow you to separate them out like this. Lastly, I have my bits of this security envelope, so I can just figure out how I want to do that. And I don't need to have all the answers right away. Maybe I want to put it behind. I could also do that. If some of these pieces are too big, I can always tear them down. I can choose to have the wording show or cover that up. What I am looking to do is to spread out the patterns so that they're not right next to each other, and just make sure that there's a balance. Still need one more for the back, but that's okay. I will look for it later. So what I'm going to do is I am going to glue everything down, and then I will come back, show you what it looks like, and then figure out if there are some additional things that I want to add to this. All right, here we are. I am loving the way this looks so far. I really think I've got a good mix of colors, a good balance and distribution of my pieces, so I'm really happy with that. I started to notice as I was laying things down that I was not really loving some of the text in here that was showing. I don't mind about coffee and about everything bagels, that's okay. But when I started with chicken and pot stickers, I was like, ugh, I don't really love that text. So I tried to cover up this gyoza pot stickers with a piece of washi tape, kind of with these labels, but then I didn't really love it. So I had already put this down. I tried to peel it off and it was going to tear the paper, so I left it. But what I want to do is I want to put a bunch of rubber stamping, and if there is some text that I don't love, I'm going to try and be strategic about how I do the rubber stamping. I have some postmarks, I have this third class stamp, I have some numbers. I'm just kind of going to stick with a postal theme. But this, for example, right, I could just very carefully go and put my postmark over that so that the text doesn't show underneath. And, you know, just play around with that. I'm going to use permanent ink. I don't want anything to smear, especially on these kind of plastic coated paint chips. So I will hopefully be okay with that. So I have black ink, probably maybe blue, and then red. I also have this little tiny number. Let me show you what it looks like if I stamp it on something. It's really pretty. Very, very nice. So I might, you know, place that in a couple of interesting spots as well. This is my cover, and I know that I do want this stamped. So let me make sure that it's looking good. Yeah. Third class, or do I want parcel post? Maybe parcel post. Okay. Maybe I can do third class down here. All right, so now I'm just going to start with my postmarks. So I've got these airmail stickers. I'm going to be adding them to some of these. And then I will add some numbers. Okay, just to add a little bit more color, I want to add these kind of squiggle marks, maybe in red. And then I also have a registered stamp. I want to cover up this text right here, so I'm going to do that in black, and I'll do that first. Okay, that's fine. Yes, everybody has squiggles. And then do I want to do anything round? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's anything else, but what I can do is go ahead and fold this up. I want to blot this just in case it's wet. Yes, it is wet a little bit. Let me check this. Ooh, it's also wet. Okay, so let me press all of these just to make sure that I'm not going to be smearing anything. Would I want to put any kind of seal or protectant layer on this? No, not really. I don't particularly like to use Mod Podge or any of those, so I'm just going to let it be as it is. All right, so now how do we glue these together? So this is the top page. So I turn that over, turn all of it over really. And I will start right there with my glue stick. And I just glue one at a time and then push that down. Now I fold it back and then I do the next one. And then fold this over and just keep on going until I get to the end. Now, before I glue down the back cover, it's going to have to kind of stretch all the way over. And there's going to be this little bit of leftover piece that is showing. If you want, you can add something else to that, but I don't mind that there's that little gap right there. It's the same colored paper, so it really doesn't stand out that much. But before you glue it down, it's a good idea to take your bone folder or any, of your instruments to go ahead and really press that down. Okay, there. All right, so here is the finished book. Let me pull in my camera. Now, as I'm looking at the pages, I'm assessing to see if there's anything else that I want to add. This needs to be glued down a little bit more. I will glue that down in a minute. Overall, there's a little bit of transference of some of these inks, which is kind of disappointing, but that's okay. Next time I know. But in general, I really like the way these paint chips go from page to page. Those are a lot of fun. All right, and the cover looks great. I love this cover. Very, very nice. When you cut down your bag, you have 2 of these pages that you can turn into books. So here is the second book that I made. With these ones, I had a bunch of these stickers of bugs, of insects. So I just used these as kind of like the theme for the whole book. So that's how this one turned out. A book of bugs. I do need to think about a title. I'll come up with a title for this one. So I hope that you have a ton of ideas of what to do with these grocery bags, and that maybe you even already have grocery bags at home that you can pull out and start to cut down. These are so much fun to play with. There's so many things that you can do with these books. You can do mixed media, collage, whatever kind of art that you want to do. And you can create these books with not a whole lot of art supplies at home. You just need a glue stick and scissors, and then whatever else that you come across that you can use in your pages. If you enjoyed this video and it was useful to you, please do hit the like button so that it can be spread to more people. If you're looking for more videos like this one where you don't need to sew or do any kind of binding for your little journals, then check out this video. This one is going to give you some examples of other kinds of journals that you can make without having to do any sewing. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you the next time.